immigrants will take more pride in America than we will. The immigrants will come to America and they will do the nastiest jobs in order to make a living for their family or to send something back home. Even though they might be coming over here illegally, they are coming into someone else's country ready to work and ready to do the work that we Americans
they know what it takes to be an American. And I don't think Americans know what it takes to be American.
No.
What is going on, everyone's? We are here and we are back with another episode of
Is My Point Valid?
Yes, indeed. I am Brandon D.
And I am Camille A. Stalker.
And like always, if you enjoy our content, like what's being said, like the conversations that we have, make sure y'all hit that like and subscribe, share, hit the notification button, all that good stuff. And if you like hearing us on podcasts, our actual podcast, make sure you check us out on all podcast streaming platforms. But with that being said, we're going to go ahead and get into this episode. And the topic for today is going to be
America, the land of the free.
Yes, it is. And no matter how much we feel like we are going through stuff, how much we feel that people are discriminating or all the racism or whatever, this is one of the best countries to live in. I am happy to be an American. And we notice all the people of other nationalities, ethnicities, they're all trying to get here because they also realize how good it is to be an American, to live in America, where you can go from nothing to something. And that's not something that's really attainable in other countries. So believe other countries, they love this country more than actual Americans. I feel like Americans are spoiled. And a lot of people in other countries, they say that we're spoiled. We don't appreciate the things that we do have. We're always hollering about racism and all of these injustices and all of that. But you can go from being a nobody to a somebody here. And you can't do that in most other countries.
Yeah. In a lot of other countries, I just thought about this, is nepotism, right? And nepotism is when you have money, the money is continually going. Mm-hmm. So if you look at China, that bloodline of the leaders, are they presidents? I don't know what their rank
Prime
is.
Ministers,
whatever it is. But it's bloodline.
Yeah.
So it stays within father, son, all the way. It goes.
So the poor stay poor and the rich stay rich.
Right.
You can't pass through social classes.
Right. And so here in the United States of America, I can run for president. I'm
Absolutely.
old enough, right? Mm-hmm. I've been a U.S. citizen. I meet the requirements. Like, I could run for president. Is anybody going to take me seriously? No. But
It's possible, though.
It's possible,
yeah.
Right? You have that possibility. In other countries, that is not a possibility.
You can't, there's not anybody running for prime minister or things like that.
I don't know how prime minister works.
I know it don't work like it do here.
But they have a prime minister and they have something like a president. I'm talking about in Europe now. I'm not sure how it works. I focus on the United States of America. Like, I know there's world history and how everything needs to go. But when you kind of focus on everybody else's economy or the queen or the king or whatever, you kind of shade out what we are supposed to be looking at with, the president, Congress, the Supreme Court, local.
It's really a distraction.
It's a huge distraction. Why don't we have this? Well, we have what we call what is supposed to be a democracy.
Absolutely.
It is supposed to be. That is what it's supposed to be, or the republic, right? So we are a republic, and a lot of people don't know that we're a democracy. It's a republic, right? Am I wrong?
I believe it is a republic.
It's a republic.
Yeah,
because I taught the girls that. So we get caught up other countries and what it is that they're doing over there. Well, they have free. One of the things is other countries have free healthcare. Well, what I didn't know was that people are still paying for it. Like, it looks like it's free. But it's not.
They give you the information they want you to have in order for you to form a certain belief.
Like, there's money that's been in it.
Yeah.
Like, that is able to take care of that. Now, our healthcare system sucks.
Trash. Dumpster juice.
But I think we take a lot of the things that we do have and are not grateful for them. And because we're not grateful for them, we are not being proactive in making ways to make sure that we enhance the United States with healthcare, with government, with schools, with anything that should be prospering.
And I think in a lot of cases, the people who are running things, the people who have the say so, their main agenda is to keep people separated, because the government is supposed to work for us.
Yes.
We're not supposed to work for the government.
No.
And as long as they keep us separated with race, with social class, then they understand that our minds will be focused on something that really doesn't matter. And they'll be able to do anything that they want from a higher standpoint. And by the time we figure out what's going on, it's already passed.
It's too late. You look at a lot of laws, you look at a lot of things, and that's one example because 2023 is what was that thing called about for school? Affirmative action.
Yeah.
Now I have heard about affirmative action for a very long time, but I never
looked into
what it was.
Yeah.
And then when I looked into it, okay, I was able to get in, and not me, but I was able to get into this college probably because I was Black.
Yeah.
I was able to graduate, because those grants or that financial aid was solely for me. Which you look at it and you're saying, that is a beautiful thing. Like, this is awesome. And in a way it is. But when you look at the overall picture, why is only one type of person being catered to, or two type of people being catered to, right?
And everybody else has to work. Yeah. So ultimately what they're saying is, we know you won't do the work, so we'll do some of the work for you. That's
how I took it. Once I read it and understood it, and I was like, you met me 90% of the way, and all I had to do was 10%.
Yeah. And people will argue that it's there because of injustice or prejudice or racism or whatever it is. But when you keep blaming things on other people and not looking at yourself to figure out how you can make the situation better for yourself, then I think we're doing ourselves an injustice, because we'll automatically sit back and be like, well, this is why I can't do it. No, the real reason you can't do it is because you ain't trying.
Yeah.
I mean, this is America. Even though there is a lot of things going wrong with this country, people have prospered.
It's still the freedom to do things. We are not, I think another big argument is that we are still slaves, right? That go to this guy, that we are slaves, that we work these jobs and we work these companies and we make money, but because we're going to work and we're making money, and that the owner makes more money, that you're a slave to that. But it's like, that's how the economy
works. That's how it works. That's how capitalism is. And capitalism is the very system that allows us to go from nothing to something.
And people, you're holding me back. So it's either you work for somebody or it's entrepreneurship. Right. And entrepreneurship or being a business owner is very, very hard.
Yeah.
And then if we were talking about working for someone, if you look at every football player, every basketball player, soccer player, any of those, they are working for an organization.
They're an employee.
At the end of the day, and I never looked at it like this. I'm like, they're just making a lot of money.
They make a lot of,
to play, but it's to entertain us, because we always get back to the entertaining thing. And so they make a lot of money working for somebody.
Yeah.
I like the Dallas Cowboys. Don't come for me, okay? But I like the Dallas Cowboys. Dak. But Dak is a quarterback. He makes so much money, but at the end of the day,
it's just a drop in the bucket.
And I like Micah a lot too. I like Micah Parsons. At the end of the day, they are doing their job, and Jerry Jones is saying, "Hey,
I'm gonna give you this money.
I'm gonna give you this money."
Yeah. He's not obligated to do anything. Not.
And y'all call that man a racist and all this. I don't think he's a racist.
I don't think so either.
But, and so then you look at, I just said Micah and Dak. Now we look at Colin Kaepernick, who started on this journey, a good behind quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers. He was doing his thing. I didn't know who the heck this person was.
Until the other quarterback got hurt.
I think so. And then because of my sister, she was like, you don't know Colin Kaepernick? Girl, no. I know the Dallas Cowboys. So no, I didn't know who Cap was. And then in 2016, I believe that's when you see, who is this person? who is this? He's taking a knee. All right, I'm for it. And then until you're
Swindle.
not for it, until you not.
We got swindled into a belief system because he looked like us. When really the whole thing with Kaepernick was a ploy to push this Black Lives Matter narrative. And even though Black Lives Matter, yes, but shouldn't all lives
should matter, but it was the Black Lives Matter. What was happening? George Floyd. What was happening?
Yeah.
Whoever else. Was it George? No, George Floyd happened during the pandemic. So he kind of.
I think it was all the black people who died prior.
With
Sandra Bland and
Castile. All of them. I can't think of their names. I know some people who can rattle them off, but you know, there are people dying every day. But that doesn't take away from their death.
Yeah.
But there are people dying every day. But he came onto the scene and he was just kneeling, and then first you're like, okay, I get it. You know, I really didn't get it, but I got it, right? And then he comes, and I think he believed that the NFL was going to rock with him, which they did. I thought
at first
he thought the teammates were just going to be on his side, which they were. And at the end of the day, all that he got from that was become jobless, a Netflix series or whatever. He got a payout from the NFL.
Yeah.
He got a big old deal from Nike, and now he is back saying, hey, I want to work because this is what I know.
So how you have to be some kind of clown to believe that you can sue your employer and then go back and work for them. It doesn't work like that. And I don't understand the audacity of him to even try to go back and work for people he just sued. And they paid him a multi-million dollars for that settlement. So I think in their mind, they was like, here, we're going to pay you this money so you can shut up and get away from us.
Yeah, you like spit on them, right? So how does this fit into America, the land of the free? Because the freedom for him to do this, to get all that money, and then say, hey, the audacity to say, hey, I want to come back and I want to work. I want to get in some work because I need work. And that's the only thing that he knows. That is the only thing that he knows.
Well, he should have probably thought about that before he started.
Think it through, and the people who were walking him through didn't think it through either.
Yeah.
They thought that the NFL was going to play nice. And they did.
How do you go up against a country? You have millions of people who believe in America, and you feel like black people were even like, nah, I'm not standing for that.
Because for what? Like, at the end of the day, what did he really accomplish? Him losing his job, and then for the field to say end racism, and then at the other end of the field, I don't know what it says, but I noticed that when I was watching the games last week, like, end racism, how is that being written on the field going to impact me? Hey, Camille, end racism. Well, how do I do that?
That y'all need some more words up under that.
How I do that?
And that's all a distraction to keep us separated. The higher ups understand that separation is the best method to overcome. So if they can keep us not on the same page, black people, white people, Chinese people, all Americans, and if they know that they can't keep us on the same page, then we'll always be attacking everybody else. And black people first have to realize that white people ain't your enemy.
You say that, but we also have to realize that we're not each other's enemies.
Exactly.
Because it's not a lot. You don't see, if you're watching what's happening, it's a lot of black people attacking black people.
Man.
And if it is an attack on white people, they're not attacking white people one-on-one. They're attacking their establishments, or their character or something like that. But they're not. But it's more towards each other, which is, I'm confused, because why are we not standing together if we are Americans? But that's another thing. A lot of people do not feel like they are Americans or that they fit because of this narrative that is being planted into their brains. And I feel it's indoctrination. You're not ready to change your mindset, and then you have white people who are like, well, I apologize for what I did. Like,
you ain't do nothing.
What you do. Like Vody said, Vody Baucham, his last name, Baucham, is German. And he is saying white people are like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know. He was like, what are you sorry for? You didn't own me. I wasn't your slave.
And they're trying to compound that mindset by putting the what's that thing they putting in schools?
DEI or critical race theory?
Critical race theory. And at first I had no idea.
I thought it was a good thing.
We thought it was. And then we realized that it was a whole concept of teaching white kids that they're superior and teaching black kids that they're inferior. I don't understand how that is a beneficial thing.
It's not.
Because the children of this generation, last generation and the generation before that, they weren't slaves. So why are you teaching these children this foolishness?
This division, right? And then people are upset with Ron DeSantis because he has American history, African American history books that are being written up or have been written up, and that many of the authors in those textbooks or who worked on the textbooks were black people who were
pushing the narrative,
but not pushing the correct narrative versus what we've been learning. Right. One of the arguments that I see a lot of in homeschooling groups, because his day is coming up, is Christopher Columbus. And so one of the narratives is people are like, we shouldn't teach him. But why not? He did this and he did this. And so when we are not teaching everything, that's when we become subjective. We have to teach American history. And Black history, Native American history, that is American history.
It's all American history.
It does not need to be
sectioned off.
This over here, because even on Columbus Day, they changed that day to also Indigenous Day. So whoever celebrates Christopher Columbus Day, and then you have people who celebrate the Indigenous Peoples Day, right? And so it's all American history. So when I teach, I'm putting everything in it.
You're making it all relevant to the time, because they're teaching things, and we don't even realize that these things are connected because of the way that they're teaching them.
The way that it's teaching this and this and this. Right now, we're in colonial America. I didn't know that the Spaniards were the ones who in 1511 were the ones who had brought some Africans over here. Now the narrative is 1619, and that
was the first African Americans.
That was the first Africans,
and those weren't even African Americans. They weren't even Africans. They were
from the West Indies. I'm not sure, but in 1619 there were 20 that they were Africans. There were 20. I don't know if they're West Indians or Africans, but they were slaves that were our color. That came over in 1619. It was 20 of them, but they were not the first to be here. And so that narrative has a lot of Americans thinking, 1619. No, it's there. America has been around for a very long time. It might not have been called America.
It was the colonies.
You're right. Nobody teaches about, so we talk about Christopher Columbus, but nobody will teach about Amerigo Vespucci, which is what America is named after. Like how many people can say, I know that this, but Christopher Columbus, and there's indigenous people, and we can't talk about the native people, and we can't do this and we can't do that. Yeah. It's American history
across the board.
It happened. You can't be subjective. And one of the other things that I like to do with homeschooling, I like to read the narratives of the men themselves. If they wrote it down, like George Washington has his own personal journal, so I can take from that. If you read some of Ben Franklin's stuff, read their accounts on it, and then you won't be like, this author over here wrote this about him.
You hear from the horse's mouth.
Yeah, so this whole American separation thing, that is crazy to me. And like, who began that? Who did that?
It's all about the hyphenated Americans. I mean, why do we need to be African Americans? Why do we need to be Asian Americans?
Well, I don't believe I'm an African American because I'm not from Africa.
I've never been there.
I don't.
And if you are black and you think you from Africa and you have this mindset of forget America, go back there. Go to Africa. Go live in Africa. Nobody's keeping you here. Y'all, we have all of these negative things that we say about this country, but y'all ain't trying to go nowhere else. Y'all just gonna keep talking trash about the place that you live, the place that you're from, the only place that you know.
And then that goes to freedom of speech, the Bill of Rights, right? The freedom of speech, the right to bear arms. And I don't know why a lot of people want to go against the Second Amendment, because like it's your right. Like the founding fathers knew exactly what they were doing. I think they knew exactly what they were doing. And knowing that we needed the Bill of Rights. We needed these things. And so the people who are like, we shouldn't have guns. Well, and then I don't like the narrative of guns kill people. No, people kill people.
I could put a gun right here and it'll never kill anybody. But you put a stupid person behind the gun and that's when people die.
Like a person has to pull the trigger.
Absolutely.
So you blame the person. You don't blame the gun. All right. That's
no matter if it's an assault rifle.
Realistically, somebody in their brain had to say, and you've seen it. We've seen it with schools, with churches.
Someone consciously took the gun and went to these places and shot people.
So how is the gun the bad thing? Because
we need to raise better people.
Because even if you take away guns, my next choice of weapon could be a knife.
And then you want to take away guns, but criminals ain't gonna give their guns to y'all. Criminals ain't giving their guns up. So what's happening is all the people who are legal to have guns, all of the victims are gonna be more victimized because we no longer have anything to protect ourselves with. Okay. So the criminals gonna have guns and we gonna be trying to stab them up.
Like that is your right. And as American citizens, we have rights and we don't take advantage of those rights. We let people walk all over us and we won't stand
and we just cry.
We won't stand on, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence. We won't stand on
You
the
have
flag.
to know something in order to stand on it.
That's true.
And a lot of people don't even know what,
And I used to have a problem with saying the Pledge of Allegiance. And I was on that thing. I still probably won't put my hand over my heart because I don't I'm gonna stand for the.
I'll just stand in respect, but I
probably won't put my hand over my heart. But I used to just not. I felt like ugh. And then when you look at Colin Kaepernick or you look at all these things,
all the disrespect,
you look at everything, and not once did you see Martin Luther King Jr. step on the flag and be like, "I'm not American."
He never said "Forget America."
Like what? He was trying to put us in positions to enhance in society. You never saw Malcolm. I don't know if he ever said anything about the flag. He probably did because his feelings.
He was kind of radical,
right?
Yeah.
So he probably would step all over it, right? Yeah. But I don't think was Malcolm X ever a part of the thing of going back to
Africa,
to Africa, or to be a part of. We need to set up our own.
I think he was on. We need to set up our own here.
But when he came back from Islam, the real Islam, and gaining what it meant, he came back, I think, realizing that, this is my country. This is, what I have to do.
I ain't from there.
So we
had a culture shock.
Absolutely, because the Nation of Islam was not teaching correctly what it should have, what Islam really stands for. I don't stand for that, but so my point to that is you don't recognize that you can do anything, right? Like anything can come out of your mouth. You can go in my comments right now and cuss me out.
Yeah.
And
nobody's going to see it.
Nobody's going to see it.
You can say it.
But you can say it because of freedom of speech. You can go behind a camera person and throw up some signs or whatever, and somebody might see it and laugh. But that's like freedom of speech, unless you right.
You can go up against anybody and their ideas. And if you're not putting your hands on them, you're assaulting them or anything like that, then you're free to do it.
That's crazy, right?
But in other countries, you talk that forget this country, and you going to jail. They're gonna stone you or something.
You can be whatever religion you want to be. Yeah. You don't even have to believe in God. Like that is
you can talk down on God.
Yeah, you can't. And that's your choice, right? And so we get caught up in you don't respect. Man, just respect this country of where you were born, because it gives a lot more to us than we think it does. It seems like, and sometimes our vision is blurred because of everything that might be happening in certain administrations and all this, and them old people need to go.
Yeah, they do.
Them old people need to be up out of there. So that's how do you change that? And you were saying, to go back to, we talk about immigration, how immigrants will take more pride in America than we will. Immigrants will come to America and they will do the nastiest jobs in order to make a living for their family or to send something back home. Even though they might be coming over here illegally, they are coming into someone else's country ready to work and ready to do the work that we Americans
they know what it
do.
takes to be an American. And I don't think Americans know what it takes to be American.
No, because we've been, when you're handed something, right? You talk about spoiled children. When you're handed something all the time, or you can do anything that you want to do. And growing up in schools, you can be anything you want to be. Well, shoot, if I want to be a bum, I ain't got to do that. Yeah, I don't have to do anything.
If I don't want to pay no bills, I'm going to be a bum. Right. And they going to give me stuff.
And so people who are coming here illegally, which I don't agree with at all, I think there needs to be a stronger border to
build the wall.
Yeah. But they understand work ethic. We don't understand work ethic. We want to, I know I'm on a podcast. We want to create podcasts. Everybody wants to be a podcaster. Everybody wants to be a YouTuber. Everybody wants to be an influencer. And everybody wants to be Kim Kardashian, Beyonce, Jay-Z, all of them. I want to be famous. But is that enough?
We need some hard-working blue-collar people out here, too.
And that's
because all of this stuff out here, it wouldn't be any of this if it wasn't for hardworking people.
Exactly.
And now in today's age, it's the Mexicans that are actually doing this work.
Who want to work with their hands.
Absolutely.
And they will show their sons, this is how you do it. This
is how you survive in America.
And their sons will be the engineers. Their sons will be the architects who are being paid high dollar. While we Americans are sitting here, I'm going to be an influencer.
Yeah. Who y'all influencing?
Because it's not everybody not gonna make it. That's just like a singer, a rapper or somebody. Everybody ain't gonna make it.
Everybody ain't gonna make it. We need to stop being spoiled brats because every other country is calling us spoiled. We don't appreciate the things that we have, and we don't recognize that every American is privileged. Everybody, whether you believe it or not, that in some way you are privileged because you living in a house on your cell phone. You can go outside and do whatever you want to do, but we still talking about F America.
All right. What about the homeless people?
What do you mean?
Because you said everybody is privileged.
They're allowed to live on the streets.
That's not a privilege.
It is a privilege to live.
Oh, to live, absolutely. But to live on the street?
I mean, there's always exceptions to everything.
That's not a privilege.
But that's a whole nother conversation with the homeless people. Because there's different kinds of homeless people.
I know. And then from what I've learned, I was like, oh, I thought every homeless person really needed help.
That's not the case.
They need drug rehab help.
And a lot of them are veterans, so they should be getting the help.
Yes. Now, I wasn't including the veterans in the drug thing there, because there are some people who are just leaving their jobs and saying, hey, I'm gonna live on the street, and then but they've had this addiction, right? And so the job was funding their addiction until where I guess the addiction became so big that it was too much to handle. It's either working or the addiction. Now, with the veterans, I don't understand that. I don't understand how you went to serve your country at the age of 18 and you come back, even if you didn't go over or whatever, and you come back and they'll say, hey, we'll give you free schooling. You can go to school and you can work your way. And then you might have to work for the post office. You might have to work at
more government work.
Like, you're still doing a service.
Mm-hmm.
Those should be the people who are 40 acres in a mule.
Yeah.
Like you went to serve. Uncle Sam said, hey, I got you.
I got you while you're here.
While you're here. Now, I ain't got some of y'all while y'all out.
Nah,
y'all have to.
You're on your own.
You have to make a world that you want for yourself.
And I don't understand how we have all these these privately owned organizations,
like
DAV, Wounded Warriors. All of these people are asking regular citizens to pay. Now, mind you, I understand why they're asking American citizens to help them pay, because they went to war for our freedoms.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we're not their employers.
Right.
Their employers should be responsible
government.
for their doggone retirement plan.
Yes.
Their pensions and all of that stuff. So I don't understand how the government doesn't feel responsible for taking care of those people.
I know. It does not make sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Because I think even when the GI Bill had come out, I don't remember what war, a lot of Black men did not receive their bills, I believe. I don't think so. A lot of Black men who came back living in the ghetto. What's that movie with the Ren's Tate? Dead Presidents.
Yeah. That boy came back and started robbing folks.
Right. I mean, that's just
that was the only way.
But that was,
I'm sure that happened in real life.
You went to war and you survived, like going overseas, but you come back home and you
PTSD and all.
You're dying, or you drugs or whatever. But the government is saying, well, thank you for your service. People get Purple Hearts. Like,
what is a medal going to do for somebody?
Fun fact. Did you know that the Purple Hearts that are given away, these were printed up during World War II because they thought that they were going to send a lot of troops over, but the troops didn't go into the battle that they thought. So they had a whole lot of these Purple Hearts left over.
So they trying to just give them joints away now.
So anyone who receives a Purple Heart, that is from World War II, which is so interesting because they had anticipated that a lot of men were going to go in and die with Germany. Well, Japan. It was Japan.
They anticipate.
Yes, they anticipated. They had the battle that they were going to go into. I can't remember the name of the battle, but that's when, what's his face? Roosevelt died. And so Truman said, go ahead and use the atomic bombs. Let's go ahead and end this war. And so that was the easiest way to end the war without losing a lot of American troops. And so they went after the civilians in Hiroshima and in Nagasaki. But the battle that they were going to do was going to send in, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was going to send in about 500,000 troops. But they knew the number of people that it wasn't 500,000 Purple Hearts that were created though, but it was enough to know that a lot of American soldiers were going to die. And so today, if anybody gets a Purple Heart, those are where they came from. Isn't that interesting? I said that blew my mind.
And a lot of people don't even realize that all of these wars were somehow connected. It was a progression of things.
A lot of people don't know that right after World War II, we went right into the Korean War. So
we went from the Japanese to the Koreans.
Was it the Korean War? No, it wasn't the Korean War. But we went into war with Soviet Union. It wasn't the Korean War. But we went into it with right after. They were on our side.
We just losing people left and right.
They were on our side during World War II. But then what was the name of the war? But Truman went right back into it because Russia, or at the time it was the Soviet Union, thought that we were going to go ahead and use more of our atomic bombing on them. And people didn't know what the United States was going to do because we had so much power that they thought, oh, they can bomb us at any time. See, this is American history that people aren't knowing, and they're like, they can bomb us at another time. So it's crazy. There's a list of, if you go Google who has atomic bombs, it's not everybody. And I think the craziest place that I saw that did have, not even crazy, but the most interesting place that I saw that had atomic bombs was Israel. The more you know. I was like, this is crazy. But America used to be dominant. Today is not so much, which
we're being laughed at.
Which people don't know.
We're putting clowns in the office. People who can't even walk straight. But
that was our freedom. That we are free to do a lot of things, and it's interesting. I mean, y'all just read. And
if we keep it up, we ain't gonna be so free to do do the things that we normally would be. Because, like I say, they're trying to keep us distracted with all of these things while they're passing laws. Half the laws, we don't even know they exist until they're passed.
Right, yeah.
So it's time out for being ungrateful for the country that you live in. And we need to start investing into the country so we can have it better to where we're not worried about all of these other insignificant things like race and stuff. That doesn't matter.
It doesn't. At the end of the day, if you were to die today, the world's going to continue to go. Is anybody going to be like, well, that black person. Like, I don't think so. I would pray that you're like, hey, Camille was, this person. She believed in God, and I pray that
when they're at your funeral, they're gonna be like, this black man.
I pray that she it took the Lord God as her Lord and Savior, and that she is saved.
That's what we need to be focused on.
That is the ultimate
finding
goal.
God.
All this other stuff like politics, and we're arguing over politics, and we're arguing and all over this stuff. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter.
It don't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican.
How are you ready to serve? How are you going to serve? Like, how are you going to serve your country? We're talking about the veterans and the veterans coming back, but how else can you serve your country, which is America? How can we serve each other? And when we do that, how we're serving God.
Straight up. So let's get focused. Stop focusing on all this foolishness. It doesn't matter. None of it matters. Only thing that matters is, like you say, how we going to serve this country.
Yeah.
Together, black, white, Asian, everybody who's from this country.
While we're here, stop stealing and thieving and lying, but that's a part of life. That's life.
But America, the land of the free. You are free. If you don't like being free, you can go somewhere else. Peace, love, and soul.
Bye.
Like Soul Train, baby. Choo.